Hey, how's it going? So, I saw Return of the Jedi, the 40th anniversary for the film. I had a absolute blast, and it just kind of made me think about how much I loved just the Star Wars movies in general. I have just a fond fascination for Star Wars. I grew up with it since I was a kid, and I loved it ever since. I cosplayed as Luke Skywalker at the film event, and it was a lot of fun. We got to watch it in its glory. It was the special edition version. Either way, didn't mind. But it was just so amazing getting to see that again in theaters. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It just kind of brings up a lot of things that I just loved about Star Wars. The character of Luke Skywalker has always been one of my favorites. Basically being one of the underdogs in the situation, like Peter Parker for Spider-Man, is kind of that equivalent for me, where they're just people that are gifted something and they learn the value of their power, and they learn the responsibility to control that power. If anybody hasn't seen Return of the Jedi, it is basically about Luke's journey in the final chapter of the OT saga, the original trilogy, where he faces off against Darth Vader and the Emperor. Originally called Revenge of the Jedi, it later was changed to Return of the Jedi, due to reasons I don't know, because maybe they realized that Revenge of the Jedi sounds kind of evil. Luckily, they kept that title for Revenge of the Sith for episode 3, but I can't say enough. Like, it was so cool and heartwarming to see a bunch of people enter that theater. It was just kind of like you're watching somebody, or you're just watching this fan base just be together in the thing that they love, and the thing that we love is Star Wars. I'm not gonna get into debate about whether I like the sequels or whatever. Personally, I'm not a huge fan, but anybody that likes the sequels, more power to you. But I absolutely was in love watching everybody just get so excited watching these movies. So it's kind of one of those things that brings me to why I like doing what I like doing, why I like cosplaying, is I like cosplaying characters that are characters that I feel connected to. I just don't do just random suits or anything. It just kind of feels like there was a connection to that character. Luke Skywalker has always been a connection for me, where it's this kid that's more or less kind of trying to find his way in the world. And once he's gifted this power, meaning a magical space wizard, or I call magical space samurai, you learn more about the origins of this character, where he's come from, how he grows to become the man that he is in the final chapter of the George Lucas saga, basically being Return of the Jedi. It's quite fascinating, and it's quite, I just love it. I just love everything about it. And I love the character struggle that he goes through between with all three movies. Stan Lee has always put it the best way is that the greater the villain, the greater the threat, the greater the hero. And we see that with his trials and tribulations throughout all three movies. This is just kind of like me just rambling, but at the same time, it's just like, I can't say enough how much I just appreciate what people see with this character and how people react seeing this character. Luke Skywalker is probably one of the most iconic heroes out there, and it's just great to see that. So, but besides me talking about Luke Skywalker for freaking 4 or 5 minutes, I want to talk about the movie. So the movie, Return of the Jedi, it is about the final chapter between, once again, I said before, Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine, or Lord Sidious, and more or less, it kind of like, it's kind of like the final chapter of everything. Now, it's debatable. Like, some fans feel split on this movie, and I completely understand why. Some people love the movie because, it's something that they grew up watching and seeing their hero triumph over evil. Some people don't like it because of the Ewoks, and that's completely understandable. I'm still torn on the Ewoks. As I've grown older, I've come to appreciate them, but I definitely remember when I was younger, I hated the Ewoks. So they basically go on this adventure. They're trying to save Han after the events of Empire Strikes Back. They go to Tatooine, get Han. But first they get, a bunch of stuff happens. There's a snafu, you have Slave Leia, and then all of a sudden Luke comes to save the day and help save the day. He does, and we first are introduced to the green lightsaber due to some FX issues where they couldn't use the blue lightsaber because it was kind of getting washed out. But from there they leave. They go, Luke goes to see Yoda after training with him once again in Empire Strikes Back. Basically finding out that he's going to be the last of his kind, being a Jedi. But once again, he has to first face his final trial, which is Darth Vader. So they go to Endor. They go basically have to destroy the shield for the Death Star 2 that's being built, and make sure that it's not going to, destroy the galaxy. So, of course, the team has to go, separate. Lando leads the space invasion. It's just a fun adventure. And, that's kind of the biggest things I miss. I miss adventures. I just miss good, fun, fast-paced adventures. And that's what I loved about this movie, especially the space battle at the very end between the last remaining rebellion fleet and the Empire itself. Very fun to watch. Still love seeing the many set pieces that were used to do the FX for the final space battle. It blows my mind what they could do back then. I mean, yeah, it's nothing compared to now, but it's just kind of, when you see the special effects, you see what they could do. It still fascinates me. I'll be completely honest with you. I love practical effects. I still do. I wish that we could do it more often. The D&D, I mentioned that in the D&D movie review, that they did do a lot more practical effects than they did CGI, which I was very appreciative of, because that's a lost art. That's a lost craft. And to see that be put back into movies again, that's beautiful. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, honestly, still to this day, it has gotta be like definitely one of my favorites. I give it a B+, because like I said, the Ewoks, split on them. Some days I like them, and some days I'm like, gosh dang it, I don't want to listen to the yups. It depends on my mood and how I'm feeling. So, this was a great weekend for me, watching the movie and getting close to May the 4th. This was beautiful. The 40th anniversary to see it all come to an end. It's basically equivalent to today, where probably young kids will be talking about Avengers Endgame, where like Return of the Jedi is kind of that same equivalent for fans like us and things like that. So needless to say, this was awesome. I can't say enough how cool this is. I wish Disney would do more re-releases. Hopefully we will see like re-releases of the prequels, since they're getting up there in years themselves. That will be a lot of fun to see those movies in action. Especially, people will go ham seeing probably like the Duel of Fates, or one of my favorite battles is Anakin versus Obi-Wan, Battle of the Heroes. So who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. Personally, I try to keep my hands out of it, but I do say this was a lot of fun, and I can't say enough that If you got the chance to see it this weekend, I think it's till Monday. I think it's till this Thursday. They're gonna probably play it till May the 4th. But if you haven't got the chance to see Return of the Jedi, go see it. If you have already seen it, let me know what you thought about it. I've always found it interesting to hear other people talk about Star Wars and their conversations with Star Wars. Like I said, me personally, I've always found the character of Luke Skywalker to be the most fascinating character to me, and it's just beautiful to see so many people that filled that theater that Saturday. We went to the 10:30 showing, and so to get to see so many people even at the 10:30 showing, it tells you that great stories can last the test of time. And even though it's been 40 years, people will still love a good story. So I love you guys. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you guys next time. My name is Vaderfly. Talk to you later.